After a one-year hiatus, the Electronic Entertainment Expo is upon us this year, and will hopefully bring killer game announcements, memorable moments, as well as Todd Howard with it once again. Nintendo will be present as always, and there's a lot the fans are asking for. The Breath of the Wild sequel, Metroid Prime 4, Bayonetta 3, and whatever else Twitter comes up with. Around these parts of YouTube, however, Nintendo's dating simulator and alleged strategy RPG Fire Emblem is the talk of the town. So the question is, does Nintendo have anything prepared for the rest of us? Fire Emblem games come out roughly every 2 years. Some need 3 years, some need just 1, but in this day and age, 2 seems to be the sweet spot. A new Fire Emblem game annually is unlikely today, since it's more time consuming to create games for the Switch or a home console in general than it is for the DS or GBA. And while I haven't played Three Houses, judging by some of its visuals, the recycling of maps, and other people's comments on some of the routes in this game, one might argue that its development was more on the rushed side. When a Fire Emblem game for Switch was teased in 2017, a 2018 release was mentioned, which was later delayed to spring 2019 and finally released in summer of that year, meaning FE games do need more time in the oven today than they once used to. So, will there be news of a new Fire Emblem game this year, and will it actually release within 2021? Yes and no, I think, but I'm not exactly sure. Nintendo might be willing to lend more manpower to Fire Emblem development teams after Three Houses hit the mainstream and smashed sales records all over the place, and the devs now have more experience working with the Switch as well, both of which will speed up development time significantly. Now, I thought that if a Fire Emblem game were to release this year, it would have already been announced at this point. However, on the other hand, Nintendo might want to avoid what happened with Three Houses being announced and given a release window too early. So this time we might actually get the game shortly after its reveal. While my guess for a possible release date for the next FE still remains as early 2022, it's not out of the question that you can expect it maybe around autumn or winter this year. Now, discussion about when and if we're getting a new Fire Emblem game is cool and all, but what about the type of game we're getting? Is it a remake, a sequel to a previous game, or just a brand new experience? Sequels are out of the question, I think, as it has been 13 years since we last got one. A remake is definitely the elephant in the room here. I think it's debatable whether Nintendo is actually still keen on making remakes of older Fire Emblem games. If you look at the last 6 Fire Emblem releases, the 3 remakes are the less selling ones here relative to the brand new games. Now, there are multiple reasons as to why these games didn't hit high sales numbers. It's not just because they're remakes, obviously. Nintendo, like all corporations however, is focused on money and thus sales. The stats might encourage Nintendo to opt for a new game, as that seems to be the road to success. Now, one might argue that an advantage of remaking an older game is that it's not as taxing as making one from scratch, since you have a base to work off of. But games like Genealogy would need a lot of fiddling and changing and improving if it were to be remade, like it was the case with Fire Emblem Gaiden. Of course, a remake of, let's say, Fire Emblem The Blazing Blade would not need as much work as Echoes did and would also do better, I think. However, I still think that if we are getting a Fire Emblem release within the near future, it'll either be a brand new game or a simple remaster or port of an older title. It might have some improvements, little improvements or quality of life fixes here and there, and that'll be it. I'm on, or at least near the edge of my seat, waiting for E3 this time, especially after a year of its absence. Speculation is fun and all, but only time's going to tell what we're really getting from Nintendo this year. With that said, I'll see you soon. Cheers.